A few weeks ago, one of my viewers asked a question in the comments. Mancastle6121 writes, "Got any videos on how to protect your tires and wheels on Build-A-Boat? Any chance you could send a link?" Well, I gave a wordy response in the answer to the question in the comment, but I felt compelled to give a more thorough video explanation on the subject just to help connect the explanation with the visuals. This video is all about the tips and tricks that I use on nearly every wheeled vehicle to allow high-performance driving to the treasure almost every time. Instead of being a tutorial for a single vehicle, this is a list of 7 considerations for making every vehicle, even ones you've already owned, work like a charm. So, if you play Build-A-Boat for treasure and have made or would like to make a wheeled vehicle, be it a car, truck, tank, or a toilet, this is the video for you. In my 3.5 years of playing, I've filled over 280 save files. 137 of those are wheeled vehicles. Most of them are capable of driving to the treasure and account for the vast majority of my over 42,000 gold blocks, thanks to a combination of several of these tips. And that was a quick slideshow of all 137 of my wheeled vehicle save slots. Starting with number 1, or maybe even before number 1, a basic car to use as an example. One of the first things you'll run into with a basic car is the flip over. And sometimes you can get back up, sometimes you can't. Let's try to solve that. Place a piece of plastic, elongate it a little bit, stick it up in the air above your vehicle. You're going to want to put just a little bit of angle on it, so use the trowel tool there to rotate it just a hair. Make sure it's a little bit off center, and then place another block on top of it. Make sure that that block interferes with the other one to make sure it's all nice and locked together, and then make both of them invisible because you don't really want to see it. And then make this one collision off. That way you can jump into your seat. Having an anti-tip mechanism like this will allow you to flip upside down on the river and be safe and find a way to get yourself righted again. Puts you in a lot better position. The next major advancement is a counterweight. You want to start with a block in the dead center, so you can use your trowel tool or your scaling tool to find the center of this core piece, and then put your counterweight stick going down underneath the vehicle. This will be collision off, and you'll want to use something like metal or titanium. Titanium is my favorite just because I got a ton of it. Most people do, so that's a good block to use. Rusted metal is also good. Those are amongst the heaviest blocks in the game. You want to use a lot of weight so you get a lot of density and you don't have to take up a bunch of space with it. There is a video that I did on Hero Plays Roblox called Weighing Every Cube Block in the Game to see what weighs the least and the most, and you can check that out on Hero Plays Roblox. I will put a link in the description for that. So you want to clone a couple of these inside of each other, and there we go. I got 3 of them inside there. That is a total of 68. Well, let's just do a few more. I'll just clone all 3 of those, and that brings my total up to 135. There's no right or wrong value to this thing. You just start with something and you see how it works. You want to collision off all of those blocks, and of course you'd like to make them transparent for actual driving so it doesn't just annoy you. There is the anti-tip block I'm standing on. It's nice to have that off center so you can get your chair easier. Okay. Alright, saved it, reloaded it, gonna drop it. And now the next problem you run into. It's a little slow getting started. So it's not as responsive as it once was. And, oh, I can almost get up there. I don't have quite enough juice, not quite enough torque. So you go into your torque adjustment and you adjust that just a little bit. And there it looks like I've got all the torque I need. Let's go down here and see if I can jump up on something. This is one of the things the counterweight is good for. It lets you change your center of gravity, so that your center of mass rather, so that you can jump up on stuff like this. And there we go. Pretty easy, and that'll help you steer it as well. So the steering gets nice and tight. Speaking of that, time for the next one. In order to make the vehicle more snappy and control easier, I like to use all front wheels. So delete the back wheels, place front wheels on the back instead. And then use the trowel tool, select both of them, and rotate them upside down. That way you don't have to worry about rekeying them. Save your vehicle. Uh-oh, wait a second. I realized I need to set my torque because I just played with that, so I'm going to set that to orange right there. Now resave, and now you have all-wheel steering. Front wheels and back wheels turn opposite of each other to allow you to do nice tight little turns. Sometimes this will be too tight for your control mechanism. Works pretty good on PC, but I know some people that use tablets and stuff have trouble with that kind of thing. And now you can see I've got even more control. I can actually jump up on that wall. Next is the protection blocks. I love protection blocks. For that, we make our counterweight visible. Put a piece of plastic on there. You're going to want to use plastic for this for sure. Plastic has no weight in the game, so it is the absolute best for protection blocks. The reason for that is you're going to have them sticking way out in front, and that will counterbalance the car. If you have anything with weight out there, it's going to cause your car to fall right on its nose. You place the panel piece on the ground to reference the ground's rotation, and then scale it into the core, and then you can make sure that the center of that is approximately river level, and it doesn't have to be exact, just get some above and some below. These things are going to be eaten in this direction because you reference the ground, so as they take damage, they're going to get thinner and thinner in this way. And that's exactly what you want to happen, because you don't want it to start to show your wheels and expose them for damage. So I'm going to move these out to just a little bit wider than the vehicle, and now I'm going to clone them, and I'm going to set the clone tool to 6 studs. So I'm going to place these 6 apart. I used to do 8, and thanks to a few recent updates, they actually do a pretty good job at 6 now. So I've started to use 6 on some of my stuff. It's also nice to put them tighter. If you don't have enough room out front to put protection blocks, you can just tighten them up, so you get the same amount of protection in a smaller space. You may have slower wheel speeds because the blocks won't break in time, so that's a consideration. There we go, that's good enough. Now I'm going to make all of those invisible because I do not want to have to see them. As you can tell, that would be hard to see where you're going if those things are visible. So I'm going to collision off and invisible. And I got to invisible that piece right there again as well. Okay, save that, reload. As you can see, you can pretty much just drive right down to the treasure. You'll want to avoid anything that explodes. You'll have to go around them. You'll have to go around the washing machine. You'll have to go slow in the squid arm stage and the bee stage. And I guess you'll just have to avoid the alligators altogether because the protection blocks do not help much with the alligator stage. Another thing you'll want to consider is the width of your vehicle. As you can imagine, a wider vehicle takes more protection blocks, which takes a lot more plastic. This amount of plastic right here that I just used as an example is about 2,000. Typically, for a vehicle this size or just a little wider, I use about twice that. And that allows you to get all the way through all the stages without losing your protection blocks. The danger is that the core block, this 4x4 piece here, can disintegrate over time, and that'll cost you. Once you lose your protection blocks, you are just vulnerable to the same thing you would be if you didn't have it at all. Then it comes down to control. Speaking of that, you can add a little bit extra to your vehicle if you're on a PC. In that case, you can widen your vehicle by grabbing these 2 wheels and pulling them out 1 notch. Oops. I'm going to grab the wheel there and pull those out 1 notch, and then widen this block by 1 stud in either direction. Oops, not 2, just 1. Okay, and now you're going to want to place a pilot seat. Let's see here. And then it needs to be moved into place where that one was. Okay, and I believe that some of these things, just the one already keyed to that, so I'm going to unkey that. So now I'm going to key all these to TFGH. and that allows me to use WASD for flying. Okay, so there I've got all of those keyed. Now I'm going to add a jet. So you'll notice that the jet, if I go to place it, is pretty wide. And if you look at the block here, you can see that it's going to interfere with both sets of wheels. And pretty much no matter what I do there, that thing's going to interfere. So what I can do instead is to grab it and rotate it sideways. That makes it thinner, and then just look at its hitbox here and move it over so that it is centered like that. Now the jet has a lot of weight, so you might want to move it down a notch too. You want to make sure that you key it, and you might actually want to key it before you move it in place, because that's a pain. So I am going to key this thing to E, because that works for me. And now I'm going to move it into place, right in the center of the vehicle. There we go. I'm going to turn collision off on the jet and make it invisible. Now let's see if she'll fly, after a quick save and reload. Okay, I have my regular ability to drive. It looks like the weight of the jet may have affected things just a little bit. I didn't hop up there quite as easily as I did before. So in this case, you might have to add a little bit more counterweight because I added more weight on the top. The jet actually does weigh quite a bit. I forget how much it weighs. I've had that weighed at some point in the past, but kind of don't remember that every day. Okay, and there it works. You will notice that when you have wheels on a vehicle and you're using a jet, it becomes squirrely. If I stop flying, if I stop controlling it, it kind of goes nuts. So you just kind of have to stay on WASD and control that thing. As a bonus, if you happen to lose all your wheels, you'll still have side-to-side motion, and of course you'll still have the ability to do a roll as long as your anti-tip block holds out. So, next. So, as I mentioned before, the alligator stage is pretty brutal on wheels. For this one, I'm going to place a block right there in the center of that wheel. I'm going to turn collision off right away because I don't want to have collision on when I'm moving it in and out of the wheels here. We will turn collision on at the end of this process in order to enable this wheel to be the big wheels that we need them to be. So when you're sizing wheels like this for the regular wheels, you will notice that as this wheel turns, it has an angle that will interfere with the core of your vehicle at some point. They'll also bump into each other. So right now I've got this block 10, and if I go out here and out there and have it centered, and it's 10 by 10 now, you can imagine if I put another 10 by 10 block over here, they're going to touch each other. That's not going to work. So you've got to make it a little bit less, or you have to extend your wheels out on sticks to get them away from the core of the vehicle. And you might actually have to make your wheelbase a little bit longer to accommodate. It just depends how large you want your wheels to be. So for this experiment here, I'm going to do a core block of 8, and let's see how that works. Actually, maybe I'll less that. Yeah, I'm going to go with 8. I like that. Okay, now I'm going to clone it and rotate it. At this stage, you want to make the perfect circle. So turn your scaling tool, put it to 0.05 or even 0.01 if you want to. I'm going to use 0.05 just because it's quicker and easier and it lets me get to the point. So that one is about the same as this one. Let's see. I kind of like the way that one looks. So there we go. 1.5. So there's a little bit of a gap right there, but that's okay for what I'm going to show you. That also means I can just go to 0.5 and adjust these other two. So now I have a total of 1 by 1, and it's 8 long. So you can just do that to begin with. Okay, so grab these two, clone them, and then rotate them. I'm using 15-degree rotation, so I'm going to grab the 4, I'm going to clone them and rotate them one more time, and then I'm just going to leave that selection the way it is, and I'm going to clone it one more time with those 4. and that will complete the wheel. Rotate that 4 times. There we go. Okay, now we've got a nice wheel. Now I'm going to distribute these to the rest of the tires, and that should be pretty easy because I've used a bunch of even numbers on this. So I'm just going to set my I've got my clone tool set to 1 here, so I can just move it right into the center of that one. And I should not have cloned that one, but that's okay. I'm just going to move it over here. And now I'm going to grab both of those. And make sure you don't actually have the wheel itself selected. You're going to want to select the center of one of those so that your orientation is correct. And then you can clone it over to the front wheels. And just make sure they're centered on there, and that looks great. You can check your center point with the little arrows right there, and save that, and reload it. Okay, it's reloaded. Now I'm going to turn collision on all of that gold right there. Don't need to select that one. I don't need to select my jetpack. Collision on. Okay, save that again. And now we can drop the vehicle and test it. Okay, so I've got wheels. They work. I've got my all-wheel steering. It's a little slippery, so I might have to work on that a little bit. For that, you add sand. So you can use sand instead of gold wheels, or you can add a layer of sand around the outside perimeter, or you can add a core of sand, like another wheel, inside the gold wheels. So you have sand that helps you grip and gold as backup. And you might want to reevaluate your protection blocks to ensure that they are still low enough. The reason I put it at about half of the river level is that as it's bouncing along, it still has enough protection blocks out in front to take care of the rocks in front of you as you're bouncing. This is working pretty well. The gold will help to protect you in the alligator stage, which is really important. It will not help you too much with explosives. It might help protect your wheels for just a little bit on the stuff that's on the ground, but the explosions themselves have more distance and they will reach your wheels. Let's see how it does in the final couple of stages here. I'll go ahead and run to the treasure. I gotta say, it's pretty resilient, and I don't have any jet left. So somewhere along the way I hit an explosion, it took out the jet, so my jet did not work at the end. That's pretty normal. You can also use thrusters. It is important that you have good control for a thruster because they can get pretty much crazy really fast. I'm going to add some sand to these wheels for grip, and wanted to mention that while I'm doing this, there will be links in the description for videos on Hero Plays Roblox. That was my friend's original channel. I put about 80 videos on there, and some of those were tutorials. Everything from block weight to counterweight, protection blocks, all this kind of stuff was discussed in greater detail on that channel. And y'all are welcome to, and I encourage you to check out those videos. Much of that content is still very relevant, and if you notice something in this video that you wanted just a little bit more information about, that's a good place to get it. Check the description for the links. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel for some more crazy content. Have a great day. Bye-bye.